can't have a healthy banking system or financial system without a healthy economy. Perhaps you could not have a healthy economy without having a healthy financial system, I'm not sure, but certainly it's interactive. So perhaps uncharacteristically from our vantage point as regulators, we're concerned that the customers of our supervisees are healthy. So we care what happens in the real side of the economy. Now, when you talk about deepening the financial system and generating capacity for citizens to interact, have easy access to financial services, you're talking to the real side of the economy. You're doing something that will make that more healthy. As a result of it becoming more healthy, our direct supervisees will be healthier as well and will be more solid. So it all interacts very nicely. And it also gives us license to get out there in the real world, sometimes pushing something a little bit or making sure something works a little better or encouraging some development that's happening because it really is very central to our mandate. We've grown very nicely over the last 10 years. We've had growth rates of 8, 9, 10% a year. Now, in today's climate, we're not sure we can maintain that because the storm clouds on the world economy probably make that difficult. However, we do feel we can broaden the inclusion. We can make sure that more people benefit from the growth we do have, and thereby actually strengthen our economy in the face of these storm clouds that are coming up. Insofar as we can have more inclusion, we can have everybody feeling they're more part of the nation's efforts. We not only strengthen democracy, which is part of the story, but we also strengthen the economy. And so it's very pertinent to these somewhat uncertain economic times to deepen, to construct inside. One way to put it is that when it's raining outside, you work on your basement and make it more watertight. And in the economy, broadening financial inclusion is like improving your basement. You're really building on the foundations of the economic system, reaching down to the poor, reaching down to the people that don't have easy access. Thereby, you're making the economy more solid, you're making it more resilient, you're making it better equipped to confront the challenges that are obviously going to come from outside at this point. And so it's very high on our priority, very, very much so. We, of course, the traditional priorities, which are to maintain the health and the solidity of the system, have to go along with that. You can't sacrifice that while you're doing the other, but there's no reason you should. These are not incompatible, on the contrary. They're mutually reinforcing. The best place to learn is from somebody else who's doing it. Learning by others doing is a very powerful instrument. So we hear what's happening in Kenya. We've gone and looked. In fact, there's people from my organization who've been to Kenya, who've actually seen it in the field, bring back what's been done there. We'll do perhaps not exactly the same. It's got to be adapted to local conditions. They started from the phone companies that did it. We're starting from the banking side. But it doesn't matter from which end you start. You've got to see it working. You also learn what didn't work, what difficulties came up. So you make new mistakes. You don't make the old mistakes again if you're sensible about this. Hopefully you make no mistakes, but that's hard to do. So we'll make some. The same thing, these correspondent banking cashiers or bank windows, they were started in Brazil. I remember hearing about them when I was part of the Toledo administration 8 years ago. I mean, it sounded very interesting. Now I've come back to the government and we've got a bunch of these things already happening. Well, it's because we went and looked. So peer-to-peer learning is important because the technology diffuses much quicker, but also it gives you the conviction that you can do it. The greatest obstacle to change is in your head. It's not out there in reality. It's that you think you can't do it. So you see other people doing it, then you believe that you can do it too. And so it's an enormous facilitator. And that's why you see so much enthusiasm here, because people see that others have done something they feel they can replicate. And the benefits are very clear, and you can see them somewhere else. So why shouldn't you get them too? You can never bring risk down to zero, but we want to avoid mistakes. We have to, if somebody believes or is told they have 19.75 units of currency in their account, that's what they've got to have. It can't be 19.76. It's got to be accurate. So there's an issue here of making sure that these things work. And we're fairly confident we can do that. And that translates from what we do right now. We supervise the banks to make sure that their accounts are right. they'll translate the same kind of thing. So there is an issue of reliability, that you can't tamper it. There's an issue of hacking the computer systems. All those things are there. But they're there now. Those are not really new challenges. We need to refine protection a little bit. Fortunately, in Peru, internet usage is very widespread. People are not afraid of it. There are small outlets, cabins, where people can access for very low cost. It's one of the countries where the coverage of internet is very widespread, and people are used to, particularly the next generation, you know, one generation or two down from me, they're very internet literate, in the backwoods as well. So from that point of view, we're not going to have a problem. It's going to be the other way around. It's going to be the kids that have to teach their parents how to use, you know, the new systems, and they probably will. And that'll probably work pretty well. You know, we're going to have, you know, a number of teenagers, young people, you know, teaching the older ones how this works.